today I'm getting kind of back on my 35 Indian. It's a 1935 Indian Scout. It's a really neat bike. It runs on a magneto, and it's just so cool and like old school. I've been looking for a pre-war bike for a long time. I'm pretty excited about getting this thing running. Of course, it's been sitting for 100 years and the tanks are full of rust and stuff, so I've been through those. I acid cleaned them. Now I'm patching holes. So as you get through and you start cleaning these things, you start finding the leaks. You could tell that at one point in its life, somebody had already tried to seal this tank. I can see why, because there was a few little rust holes in it. And right now, what I'm doing is I'm cleaning this up. I don't know if you can see this in the light, but you can see where the rust kind of came through here. And I've got this, so I mean, this is just no good. I mean, when you're driving it, sloshing around, it's coming out in between the tanks, leaking, you don't know where it's coming from. I know there's a leak here. I know there's a leak here. There was a leak here, and I patched this one already, but I'm gonna kind of show you how I'm patching this and just see how it works. Now, when I get done with patching it, I'm gonna run this tank sealer in it that I got from my buddy Steve or Main Street Moto here in Las Vegas. I'm gonna go ahead and see if this stuff, I can mix it up. He said it's a science. You gotta have it right. You gotta have the heat right. You gotta have everything perfect or this shit will not work. So I'm gonna make sure that when I get done, we're gonna read this and then we're gonna seal these tanks. Once we get the tanks sealed and I feel confident about putting gas back in them, which probably won't be for a couple days because the only thing this stuff don't stick to is oil and silicone. So I'm gonna probably take a silicone gun and plug up all the holes with silicone, and then I'll come back and have to clean them out later. So what I'm gonna use here is I'm gonna use a little JB Weld. I mean, JB Weld works good for a lot of things. I don't know if I would use it for only the tank sealer itself. I've used JB Weld for all kinds of crazy stuff. I'm not getting paid for a commercial, by the way. I wish I was. But, you know, JB Weld, everybody I think has got some in their toolbox. But it's good stuff to have laying around, especially for little things like this. But I don't know if I would rely on this only for sealing the tank, and I'll show you in a minute what I'm gonna do. But see, what I wanna do now is I'm just gonna lay it in here and get me a nice little cover pass in here if I can hurry. Stuff sets up pretty fast, so you gotta work quick with it. Anytime you're working with a two-part stuff, it just goes so quick. And that's what I'm dealing with the sealer in a minute. But what I'm trying to do here is I want to cover this area really good, right in here where the leak is. I'm going to take my scissors. I got this screen. And I'm going to cut me on a piece of this window screen. And I want to lay it up in here. I'm just going to put that screen in there as kind of a mesh to hold it together. You can see it's kind of in there now. And I had to kind of work quick on that, but that's kind of what it looks like when you're done. But I don't know, I kind of like you don't probably have to use that mesh, but I use it only because it helps bond it together. Being a steel worker and dealing with a lot of rebar and concrete, you know, you tie your concrete, or you tie your rebar together and pour your concrete on it, and it helps hold the concrete together. Whether it's got fiber mesh in it or not, it's kind of nice to have an extra backup with rebar in there to make it a little stronger. I honestly can't believe how much is in here, and I've taken a lot of out of here. Ooh, what happened? Where'd it get stuck? Oh, it got stuck. Hold on. There's a baffle in there. It's stuck on a baffle, so I have to break it to get it past it. That chunk is too big to get past whatever it's hitting. So I'm just gonna leave it in there. Come on, I can hear you in there wanting to move around. Hear it? I mean, it's really not gonna affect much. Okay, so what I'm doing now is I've got the tanks pretty well cleared out. They're all blown out. They're ready to be sealed. I had to come in and silicone, and I'm waiting for this to dry, but this chemical won't stick to, this sealer won't stick to silicone. So I silicone those up. I tried to get this out, and this is the oil pickup, and it looks like I broke it off. But anyway, I can solder that back on when I'm done. Try to get it to go back in there. But right now what I'm doing is I'm just wire wheeling it to get, I'm literally peeling off layers of history right now. It's like I can smell it. The different layers and the different things that they've done. And I got digging in here, and you can see that somebody put some lead in this tank to fix the dents at some point in its life. And I think it's so cool. I'm just gonna wire wheel this whole tank, and I'm gonna leave the lead and let it age. You can see as I go down with this wire wheel, it kind of like gives it a little bit of a sheen, and it's not exposing the metal like a flap disc or a sander would open the metal up. This is kind of laying it down, and it just makes it nice and smooth. And when I get done with this tank, I can oil it up, and it'll look really good. We'll see how it goes after we seal it. And but I'll get both tanks kind of looking the same. This one here's got some work in it too. I'm trying to get both these tanks to look the same. As you can see, is like I'm about done with this one right now, but you can kind of see the differences in them right now. This one's kind of metal finish. This one I can tell has lead right here and probably in a couple other spots. So I'll work that one. I'll get them both looking like this, and then seal them, and then probably just leave them like they are. Oil them up and run them.